Player 2 has joined the game.
All right, you want to get in the news of the week?
Let's do it.
Apparently, Nintendo Switch games may require a memory card, as in an SD card, to experience all the content. This is kind of concerning. This comes from IGN. While revealing a new partnership with SD card maker SanDisk, Nintendo has also revealed that moving forward, some Nintendo Switch games will require a micro SD card in order to experience the full content of certain upcoming games. In an announcement, Nintendo noted that, quote, a micro SD card will be needed for certain Nintendo Switch games that contain an especially large amount of content and require additional storage for players to enjoy the full experience, end quote. At least one upcoming release, NBA 2K18, will be such a game requiring a micro SD card in the system. As evidenced by the game's box art, it says, internet download micro SD card required. Nintendo's making sure not to blindside players who purchase games that need extra storage, though. A representative from Nintendo of America confirmed that box art, like that for the NBA above, will have notices of this memory card requirement on the front and back of packaging. And for those downloading, by the way, you cannot start a sentence with "and," correct?
That's like English 101.
Jonathan
or before that.
Dornbush, up your game. Get good. And this is a new sentence. And for those downloading on the eShop, there will be the standard information noting how large the game is. Nintendo also clarified that games requiring the additional space of a memory card will allow these without a micro SD card to play portions of those games. Quote, if you purchase a physical version of a game that requires an additional micro SD memory card, you will be able to play a portion of the game right out of the box. In quotes. For example, specific levels or modes, end quote. A representative for Nintendo of America said, quote, to enjoy the full game, downloading additional data is required. Depending on the storage requirements for each game, it may be necessary to purchase a micro SD card to expand storage space. When purchasing a digital version of the game, it may also be necessary to purchase a micro SD card depending on the game's storage requirements and the storage available on the consumer's Nintendo Switch console. Are you confused?
Yeah.
Okay. Nintendo's partnership with SanDisk means the introduction of branded micro SD XC in 64 gig and 128 gig sizes, with packaging featuring Nintendo characters and a Switch logo branding on the card itself. The Switch supports micro SD XC cards up to 2 terabytes. Quote, some Nintendo Switch games will require consumers to purchase an additional micro SD memory card to play them. What the F? Our expanded storage solutions offer flexibility for those who need it to play these games. People can choose exactly how much additional storage space they want to buy, depending on the number and type of games they play, and the amount of content they plan to download, Nintendo said about the process. Sean, what the hell?
So I'm a little confused in that. Let's say you bought a Switch right off of the shelf at Best Buy.
Okay.
These games that they claim may require an SD card, are they saying you still may require it? Or
yes.
It's, well, if you have a Switch and you've already got a bunch of games, you may run out of space. Or even if you have one that's as empty as it can possibly be, you would still need one. Or are they saying, yeah, if you've downloaded a bunch of stuff and whatever, then there's a chance maybe you would need additional storage?
No, what they're basically saying is, I think what they're using is to make up for the deficiencies of the Switch hardware, and I love my Switch, but to make up for the deficiency of the Switch hardware, they're going to essentially use the SD cards as an extension of the hard drive. Whether, I don't know if they can use, like, SD cards don't have RAM, but they're going to, essentially, it sounds like they're going to preload some of the game to the SD card while some of it goes to the actual Switch. I don't like this at all. I feel like this hasn't gotten a lot of play over the last week or so. This just really broke on like Thursday or Friday. I feel like this is something that could end up being a very big deal down the road for us Switch owners.
It could be, but I mean, to me, there's been plenty of big games that I've missed out on. But Breath of the Wild, to me, is huge. And if this wasn't, this is kind of what I was getting at. If this wasn't an issue for Breath of the Wild, what kind of games are going to be on the Switch that this would be an issue for? Unless, of course, you have a Switch that you've already downloaded, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and all these other big games, to where it's like, okay, maybe you're running a little low on space. Maybe you're going to need a special SD card in order to be able to download and install and fully run some other, Skyrim or whatever. Like, I mean, Breath of the Wild to me is huge.
Yes.
There was no issue with that. Are there really plans on making Switch games so much bigger than Breath of the Wild that this could become an issue, even if you've got a new Switch that doesn't have a bunch of stuff already downloaded on it?
I think it's not like Breath of the Wild is a huge game, but it's also like, if you think of like NBA 2K18 is going to support this. Perhaps it's something like to make these models look anywhere near what they look like on the PS4 and the Xbox One. What we've got on the base Switch, we can't rely on. So we have to say, look, if you want to play this game and you want the full experience, you have to have an SD card that we can use that memory on that card to help make the actual game experience better, is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Somehow Breath of the Wild's only like a 7 gig game. It's like Metal Gear Solid 5 was only 25 gigs. Whereas Grand Theft Auto 5 is now up to like 80 gigs at this point. I don't even know.
Right. I don't know. It's definitely a drawback, setback, hindrance, whatever the word would be, for the Switch. But at the same time, you kind of, sort of had to see this coming.
When you've only got a limited amount of on-device storage, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I think a lot of people that bought the Switch probably aren't buying the Switch for these types of games that would require this. So, especially if you're talking games like NBA 2K, not a game I'm going to get on Switch. Not a game I'm going to get in general, but I would think it's probably few and far between the games on Switch that this would impact. Yeah. And for the most part, it's probably going to be games, for me, games that I'm probably not going to be interested in anyway. Or at least interested in getting on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's probably games that are also going to be available on PS4, and I'd likely just get them on PS4. But it's definitely not good, but at the same time, it's something that I kind of probably saw coming.
Again, though, it's like, I don't know that it's a big deal, but it's something that right now I don't think it's a big deal. But 2 years from now, is it going to be, well, every big AAA game that you want, you got to have an SD card? That's what I worry about. Not really like NBA 2K18. I don't care about that, but what comes next? That's what worries me. And we'll see. I mean, we have no idea what to predict,
we have no idea right now, but if it gets to the point where you need like a dedicated Switch SD card per Switch game or something, in this day and age, that seems kind of inexcusable. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what the future holds. Maybe it won't be that bad, but
I agree. So this past week, Nintendo did a Nindies showcase, and I'm not going to talk about I think they showed like 17 games. They don't all mean a lot, but a couple I want to highlight. Super Meat Boy Forever is coming in 2018 to the Nintendo Switch. This is the sequel to Super Meat Boy. Super Meat Boy's son, called Nugget, has been kidnapped. That is horrible. He's a nugget, I guess, because it's meat and he's a boy. Meat Boy can now punch, which is a big deal, I guess. It helps him do his jumps. He goes longer with his jumps. This is Super Meat Boy. We both played very late once it came out. We played it when it came for free to the PS4. Controls are perfect, all that. It's too difficult for me. This is one of those games where I know this is a big deal, and people, especially on Twitter, people are so psyched that this game's coming to the Switch. But, like, I won't buy this game. It's one of those where if it ends up a free PS Plus game or whatever Nintendo ends up doing with their virtual console, whatever, I'll play it eventually, but I don't feel the need to go out and buy it.
I feel like I probably didn't give this game its fair shot. I downloaded it and played it and I never got past, not because it was too difficult, but because I just didn't feel the need to get past the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 stages. And it just seemed, I know I'm reacting way too quickly, but it just seemed very repetitive. It's like, here's your screen.
Bing, bing, bing,
You're
bing,
here.
bing, bing.
You need to get to here. So you go down and over and up and left, and you're there, and you beat the level. And I've heard this game is super, super difficult, and I don't think I stuck with the game long enough to get to that point, but it just seemed very...
It gets difficult quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed very repetitive to me. It was fun, I guess, but... And I fully admit, I probably did not play this game long enough to get a fully formed opinion of it, but it was...
Yeah.
Like I said, it just seemed like you have a screen, and it's like, here's the start, here's the end, get there. And you may have to go, and you beat it. And it's like, okay. I feel like this game would get very old very quickly.
Yeah, but every level is different. Now, I didn't go even through all of World 1 because I was like, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. But again, it's one of those I would like to play at some point. It's not like must buy when it finally comes out. It's going to come to other consoles as well. Next thing they showed, Shovel Knight King of Cards is coming in early 2018, first on Switch. This is the King Knight campaign. This is finally the last thing they're going to do with Shovel Knight. There are 4 new worlds and 30 new courses. I don't even know what that means in terms of Shovel Knight, but that's what it is. There's new weapons, new abilities, and there's, of course, a card game because even Shovel Knight is not immune to Hearthstone. There's also a Treasure Trove Amiibo 3-pack that was announced and it's coming out, which features Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight. I don't care about either of those. I still want the Shovel Knight Amiibo at some point because I just think it's just so good. It's so perfect. But I never went back and beat Spectre Knight after we did the Let's Play that got lost. Sorry, everybody. I just want to play Shovel Knight in Shovel Knight 2 at this point.
Yeah, the what is it? Plague of Shadows was pretty
Garbage.
terrible. Spectre of Torment seemed fun, but it's not. To me, Shovel Knight nailed it. It was like that perfect combination of like DuckTales and Mega Man.
Yes.
And then it's like they tried to take that and then just tweak it for all these other side spin-off games, and it just, I wouldn't say it didn't work, but it
didn't
nowhere
work as well.
it nowhere near accomplished the appeal of the original. Even before I played Spectre of Torment, I'm just like, I'm ready for Shovel Knight 2.
Yes.
And I get it, they have obligations to fulfill.
They raised like $4 million on Kickstarter, so they're screwed.
Oh, right. But I just don't care. I just don't care. It's a fun game, but it's not like I'm so invested in the story that, ooh, I wonder how Plague Knight became Plague Knight, and I wonder how King Knight became... I don't care. Like, I just want to play the game as it was meant to be played. I'm ready for Shovel Knight 2. Let's again, like I said, I get it. They can't just move on because they have obligations to fulfill, but I'm ready for Shovel Knight 2.
I think what it boils down to for me is, and I think this is what you think also, Shovel Knight plays the best out of all the Shovel Knight stuff.
Oh, without a doubt.
The good thing, though, whenever Shovel Knight 2 happens, if it's 8-bit or 16-bit, whatever, they no longer need to rely on Kickstarter. So they can just make Shovel Knight 2. If they want to add on all this other stuff, I wouldn't care if they did this stuff for Shovel Knight 2 and charge $10-15 for it. I won't buy it. I just want to play Shovel Knight.
Exactly.
But it is what it is at this point. So it's coming early 2018. It's coming to every console, but it's going to hit the Switch first, like Spectre Knight did as well. It had like 3 weeks exclusivity, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
That it came to the Switch first. Also, SteamWorld Dig 2 is coming September 21st. The SteamWorld games are huge. I think I've only played a demo of one before, but I know those are big, and it's something I'd like to get into eventually, but again, life. Next up, Miiverse is shutting down on November 7th. This is one of those things you probably never even experienced it because you didn't have a Wii U.
No.
The only thing the Miiverse means to me is it's just the most annoying thing ever. When I would boot up my Wii U, and all of a sudden I just see all these. It's like it's just these me's are walking around like why, and they walk around. I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, I don't want to post a little picture that says Metal Gear Solid 5 was great or Batman vs Superman was a good movie or whatever it is. Like, I'm surprised this stuck around as long as it did. You should have seen this coming that it was dying when Miiverse was not included at all on the Switch. But just as a heads up, if you like the Miiverse, Jim Halpert face. There's a official Super Nintendo game getting released later this year by a real company named Capcom. That game is Street Fighter 2. I will say, I think they have outkicked their coverage on this one. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but like Sam Claiborne was tweeting, well, the fact that this game is still available at $125 when you include shipping means they kind of like they outpriced their nostalgia.
Right.
If anybody out there loves the Super Nintendo version of Street Fighter 2 so much that you would like to pay $125 with shipping for another cart of it in 2017, you can do that. Some of you will get a Blanca green cartridge, I think. Like 100 of them will have a glow-in-the-dark cartridge. I told Sean on Twitter, didn't tell you, but I tweeted him back, was like, if this was Street Fighter 2 Turbo, that was a weird noise, they might have tricked me into doing this.
Right.
But even then, I mean, I've got Street Fighter 2 Turbo on my Super Nintendo. Like, I don't need it. I don't know who they're selling this to. Not to mention, did you see the whole disclaimer about how, hey, be careful when you play this game?
It like could just screw up your whole Super Nintendo or something.
Make sure you've got a fire extinguisher nearby if you plug this game into your Super Nintendo because it's probably going to catch fire.
Oh, I don't know it was that. But
like Wario tweeted,
Yikes.
It also comes with the Yoga Flame, which was pretty funny. And then when you actually read it, it's like, just so you know, this is a new car on an old system. It could catch fire. Make sure you got a fire extinguisher near you. I'm like, oh, well, I'm never going to buy this and let my kids play it. Like, what the hell?
It seems like this is being marketed towards people who just want to collect it, just want something to put on their shelf and never play the game. People that are trying to make a quick buck, just pre-order it and then flip it on eBay. And that's it. If you truly wanted to play this game, you're probably, if you're going to get this on a Super Nintendo, you're probably already kind of a Super Nintendo diehard. Get Ultra Street Fighter on the Switch. It will satisfy every
and it's way better.
Little itch you have to play this game. Just get Ultra Street Fighter on the Switch. Save yourself $100. I don't get it. This just seems like, I feel like they could sell just as many of these if it was literally a Super Nintendo game, like, statue. Like, it didn't even have to be playable. Nobody's buying this to actually play the game. Because if you are, you probably already have the original.
The funny thing is, it seems like nobody's buying this game.
I don't doubt it.
So I don't know. So you're not going to buy it?
No. I mean, I don't have a Super Nintendo.
Not only that, but it's like I said, if it was Turbo, you might get me. Or if it was Super, you might get me. But regular Street Fighter 2, no thanks. It's just odd. And I get it, 30th anniversary of the original Street Fighter, not Street Fighter 2. But, I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Little quick note here. Sonic Forces is out November 7th. Next time I'll turn that so you don't have to go. Sonic Forces is out November 7th. It's only $40. I think Sean feels the way I do. Sonic is a 2D game.
That's all it should ever be.
When I see people like customizing their characters in this game and stuff, I'm like, this is just not good. It's not good. Now, if you pre-order the $40. You get like a bonus edition if you pre-order it. So it's still just the $40, but you unlock all these different costumes. There's like a Persona 5 costume of Sonic for some reason. I don't know why. Persona's big, I guess. But Sonic 4 is coming out November 7th. That was one of those where they had said like holiday 2017. So I kind of thought it might get pushed into 2018. But no, it's coming out. It's $40. But my $20 on Sonic has been enough. I love that game. I don't want to play it in 3D. It's just not for me, and I don't know who it's for. But if you want it, it's coming.
I will say, while it's not a very good game or even a good game at all, the closest Sonic should ever be to a 3D game is Sonic 3D Blast. That's still like a quasi 2D game. It's not
just all about speed.
Right. Like Sonic in general works. I will even say Sonic Spinball was a lot of fun.
Sonic Spinball was a lot of fun, yes.
Sonic 3D Blast, not quite, but it's still it's like a 2D Sonic from a different perspective. Yeah. But it's still 2D. All of these 3D Sonic games,
none of them have worked.
No, I haven't really played any of them, but they just don't appeal to me in the least bit. They're trying to make Sonic into something that it was never meant to be. And now they're trying to do it again. I don't think people have changed their mind. I'm sure there are a select group of people that are excited for this game to be re-released, but I don't know. Personally, I don't see the appeal. I don't know. I don't understand the point of it, but
I definitely don't see the appeal. Like I said, as much as I love Sonic this year, I've had my fill. We got the perfect perfect a Sonic game as you can make. To go from that to this, no thanks.
Yeah.
One last item here, the PS Plus games for September. This was very confusing because it leaked what the games were first, and then Sony came out and said, here's the games for North America. For North America, you get on PS4, Infamous Second Son and Child of Light. You get for the PS3, Monster Jam Battlegrounds, not to be confused with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Hustle Kings. And then on the Vita, which is cross-buy with the PS4, you get Hue and Skyforce Anniversary. Skyforce Anniversary is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up like 1943 style. I wanted that on my Vita. I was very excited. Then they're like, whoops, we screwed up. Actually, you're getting Infamous Second Son and Strike Vector X, which is like a shoot 'em up flying game, but it's a 3D game, not top-down. PSVR, you get rigs for free. Hooray. PS3, you get Truck Racer. And Handball 2016. I hope they made a lot of improvements over 2015. Hashtag sarcasm. And then on the Vita, you get We Are Doomed and Hatful Boyfriend. We Are Doomed looks like it's fun. It's kind of like a Geometry Wars style of twin-stick shooter where it's just one screen, you go around and blah, blah, blah. Hatful Boyfriend is a pigeon dating simulator. Let that sink in. Just come on in, Sink. Come on in. It is a dating simulator for pigeons and animals. So we're getting that instead of Hue, which Greg talked about that he loved this game and the way it does colors and stuff like that. Obviously, it's called Hue. Great game. And Skyforce Anniversary, which I've never heard of, but when I looked it up, I was like, oh, this looks awesome. No. We're getting a pigeon dating simulator and We Are Doomed. Like, what I'm hoping is maybe these other games are what will be free in October and they just sent out the wrong tweet or something. But Infamous Second Son, legit AAA game. I've never played any of the Infamous games. They've never appealed to me. I've actually heard that this is kind of the worst out of all of them, so I don't even know if I'll try it. But Child of Light is one of those games that I wanted to finally go back and try. It's an RPG. I don't know if it's an action RPG or if it's more JRPG, but it is a Ubisoft, like a UB Arts RPG game, like independent Ubisoft RPG game that's supposed to be really good and a lot of people like it, but
I'm going to go ahead and say, even though I don't remember what Games with Gold was, I'm going to probably say the Xbox won this month.
It seems like they've won, yeah.
it seems like Sony can't quite grasp. It's like they're walking this fine line and they keep tripping over it as far as put games on there that are good, decent AAA games without being
Really good.
right. Like, I don't know. I know Infamous in general is supposed to be good. And like you said, this is probably not one of the better ones. Even if it was, I don't know that I want to download it for free. I don't want to. I'm not looking for this kind of investment in my free games. I'm looking for a Broforce kind of game.
Yes.
That you can just download and pick up
Games
and play
you
for a
would've
little bit and
missed
put it
out
down.
on otherwise, yeah.
Right. I'm not looking for a 10, 20, 30 hour kind of game just because you get all of this playing time for free. I'm looking for a game that you can just pick up and put down casually. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're really getting it. I'm sure maybe a lot of people are happy, maybe thrilled to see this game on it, but I don't know. It's not doing it for me.
It's like when Just Cause came out last month. I was like, oh, I can't wait to go in there and mess around with it. And it's like 45 gigs. I downloaded it. And I was like, I need that space for Uncharted.
Exactly.
You can just
Yeah.
go away.
And then I ended up just deleting it.
Like if these AAA games were so good, I would have bought them to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
Now, Infamous is probably, like I think Greg Miller said, it's kind of the closest we'll ever get to like a Superman kind of game, like in the real world. And they did a great job representing Seattle or recreating Seattle and all this other stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I'm going to give this month to Microsoft.
Just like every other month. And just like every other podcast, you know what time it is, Sean?
What time is it?
It's that time when we play the
It's the back of the box challenge.
I'm tired. I don't even know what that sounded like. But hey, the Back Box Challenge is how we end the podcast here every week on the Two Player Co-op podcast. What this game is we take a previously released retail version of a game. We flip that joker around. We look at the back of the box per the name of the game. We read that description aloud to the other player, bleep out any pertinent information that would give the game away or make it too obvious. Then the other player gets asked some follow-up questions that can only be answered with a yes or a no. And then we go from there and we try to answer what the game is. That's the Back the Box Challenge. That's what we're going to do
now. Who's going first?
I have no idea. I'll go. You went first last time.
Okay.
Hey, dudes.
Toe Jam and Earl.
No.
Okay.
It's not bad dudes either. Your babes are missing.
2 crude dudes. 3 crude dudes.
Nope,
2
the
the
sequel.
revenge of 2 crude dudes.
Back in the
Box.
blank. Back like when rock and roll was just rock and fast food was dinner you way back. Like when rock and roll was just rock and fast food was dinner you couldn't catch. That's what it says. Live 2
cavemen. Joe and Mac.
God dang it!
Joe and Mac or Joe and Mac 2 or Super Joe and Mac or something.
Live 2 cave dudes named Joe and Mac. Where there was dinosaur demolition or pterodactyl hang gliding, life for the boys was pretty cool. Cool, that is, until a bogus bunch of Neanderthal nerds crashed their village and scared off all the cave babes. I would love to know what these cave babes looked like back in the day.
Probably like...
Now the cave babes are out there somewhere. I know you're out there.
Somewhere out there.
Lost
That's
and
not right.
really lonely. So what are you waiting for? It's up to you, Joe and Mac, to get them back.
What's the game I confuse this with?
Chuck Rock?
No.
Adventure Island?
That's it. Adventure Island. All right, so what was it, just plain old Joe and Mac?
Joe and Mac, Caveman Ninja is the subtitle, but it's Joe and Mac 1.
Caveman Ninja was the subtitle of the first game? Wow. All right.
Well, hopefully this will.
All right, are you ready?
Would you have known if I didn't go K?
I'd like to think I would have gotten there eventually. Is it Hudson or Sunsoft or something? It seems like it should be. But maybe I'm thinking of Adventure Island.
It is presented by
Data East. Okay. I think I would have gotten there. Hopefully not too late. All right. Shoot first and forget about the questions. After losing a confrontation against Super Commandos Mad Dog and Scorpion, the juices of destruction drip from the spiked tongue of the vile blank. Now he's coming back stronger than ever with a sinister plan that includes having his blank warriors seep into the brains of the U.S. Army. To support his disguised forces of doom, he's recruited Jagger Freud.
Jaeger or Jagger?
Jagger. Jagger. He's recruited Jagger Freud.
It's Jagger.
A demented blank from the blank.
Past.
He's also shuttled in the Babalu Destructoid mechanism with its beam of death. With torrential terror about to rain down upon civilization, Earth's only hope rests with you, Scorpion. It's not Mortal Kombat.
Get over here.
And your pal, the Dogster.
Sub-Zero. The Dogster?
And if you're...
Oh my god, I can picture this.
And if your blank, and blank fail to destroy blank's 8 levels of terror...
Is this beach themed?
No. No. Not in general, no. If your blank, and blank fail to destroy blank's 8 levels of terror, including radioactive lava fields... That's the only example they give. It's all over, but for the shouting, the screaming, and the cries from a disintegrating world.
Is this a console exclusive?
Yes.
16-bit?
No.
8?
Yes.
Well, okay. Is it part of a series?
Yes.
Is this the first in a series?
No.
Did it originate on the NES?
I'm gonna say no.
Did it originate in the arcades?
Yes.
Is this a Konami game?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even want it. Didn't help me.
No.
Is this a brawler? Is this a... Lost it. Platformer?
No.
RPG?
No.
Is it a action-oriented game?
Yes.
Is your primary mode of attack melee?
No.
Is it guns?
Yes.
Do you play as an Akari warrior?
You do not. Excuse me.
Okay, part of a series, start in the arcades, you shoot guns. It's not Akari Warriors. It's not the first in the series. Did it continue after this game?
Yes.
Did it go into the 16-bit era?
Yes.
Is this a game with a 30 live code?
Maybe. I don't think so. I think no.
Do you play as a human or do you play as a ship?
You play as a human.
In a ship?
No.
Is Contra in the title?
Yes.
Is it Contra?
No.
Oh, it's that. Oh, what's the weird one?
No.
Contra Force?
You're making it too complicated.
Is it Contra?
No.
Is it Super C?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I've done Contra Force before with Beans and
four dudes
MacGruber and whatever their names were.
That did not sound like a Contra game at all.
When I read this, I'm like, this is perfect because this is like a.
But once
it's
I got
Super
to Contra,
C, but when you hear, it's just, I don't know who Mad Dog and Scorpion are.
You just don't know the lore, man.
The destruction drip from the spiked tongue of the vile alien warmonger Red Falcon.
Oh, well, that would have given it away.
Jagger Freud, a demented alien from the black hole galaxy. Everything I bleeped out was like aliens in space.
Remember
related.
Jumpin' Jack Flash in the first one?
Oh, yeah.
Was that his name, or did we just call him that? Because he jumped.
We definitely called
And
him
he had a
that,
lightning
and I
bolt.
don't think we would have just made it up. I assume we got that from somewhere.
Randy.
But no, Super C.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not do that bad.
No, that was pretty good. We both got through that pretty
It was pretty good. You know what else was good? Episode 90 of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here. If this is the first time you've seen us, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there.
We didn't do this at the beginning. Like
we didn't. The alcohol. I blamed it on the... Hit that subscribe button down there. You guys are really helping us out. Add subs. I really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button down here. Share it with your friends if you like what you see.
We got approximately 10 episodes to go before episode 100.
We got to hit it.
We got to get to 500 subs by episode 100. If you're watching this and you haven't already subscribed, do us a favor and subscribe. And if you know anybody that also might be interested, go ahead and spread the word and get them to subscribe as well. Our goal is 500 subs by episode 100. We need about 4.5 subs per week to get there.
We got this.
Help us make it happen.
We'll
be back probably for some kind of,
we'll see.
If not a live stream for episode 100, some kind of special episode 100. We both have a pretty hectic rest of the year ahead of us, but the plan is to do a live stream for episode 100. If you've been with us this whole time, you've seen us do it for episode 50, and you've seen us do it for episode 75. Unfortunately. The plan is to do something similar for 100. So our goal is to get to 500 subs by episode 100.
Or 100 more, either way.
Or, I mean, if we can get to 600, we can get to 600. Great. If you haven't already, if you're watching this and you haven't subbed, please go ahead and sub. And if you have, and even if you haven't, spread the word and try to get some other people to subscribe as well. We will be eternally grateful. Thank you in advance.
Thank you. Hey, you know what else you should check out in addition to youtube.com/2playercoop? You should also check out nerd901.com. Go to nerd901.com for all things nerdy in Memphis and around the globe. Shout out to Nick Shafani. He just put up a great piece there. We just had 901 Day here. If you're outside Memphis, what 901 Day? 901 is the area code for Memphis. So when September 1st rolls around, we call it 901 Day. It's a way for people to show their love for Memphis and everything great that's going on here. Nick did a great job writing up a nice long blog post, I would say. He did a really good job. So go over to nerd901.com, check that out. Check out everything else they're doing over there. Ernie and Derek from Pixels and Papers. Shelfie and Joanna and all this other stuff and Lost the Numbers. I always think of Lost the Numbers. What's his name?
Lee Travis.
Lee Travis. God, Lost the Numbers. Everything else. They're doing so many good things over there. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's awesome. Check out nerd901.com. You can check us out on Twitter because I'm at KevinWhite24. He's at Real Sean White. Together we're at 2player_co-op. Also, if you like audio, and I know Sean does, you can go to check us out on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and audio services around the world. No matter where you listen to us, if you can, please leave us a review. 5-star review means a lot. It helps us move up the charts, helps more people get reached by us, and all that other fun stuff. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Also, we got a Facebook page that we never update. Facebook.com/2playercoop gaming. Go ahead and go there, and you'll see all the things we get tagged in from the guys at Nerd 901. Because they do their job when we don't. This has been episode 90. Thank y'all so much for being here. Until episode 91. Sean, go ahead and take us out.
I don't even remember what order I do this in.
Say it, then throw it.
No, because I got to
No, because that makes you freak out because you're like, who's playing?
Nah, I get it. We said in the very beginning, this was going to be the episode that I get it.
Who said that?
I said. Well, you said it even before we went on air. Maybe not.
I didn't say that.
Well, I said it. And here it comes. It's all building up to this moment right now. Thank you for playing. That almost hit me in the face.
Like you almost were blind because.
But I didn't throw it forward. We're making progress.
Maybe you could go this and then catch it here.
What would be perfect is if I get it on episode 100. Part of me almost hopes I don't get it until episode 100 because that'll make episode 100 that much more special. Also,
you'll fail.
We should have done these shout-outs way earlier, but 2 weeks from now, so episode 92, as mentioned a week or two ago, my good buddies Jason and Brent are going to be in town, so we're going to record a special episode with them, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a very nostalgia
Very
loaded.
just-
It just
It's not gonna be a normal episode.
Don't
It's gonna be
expect a
nice,
lot of
laid
news.
back.
Yeah, it's gonna just be a lot of nostalgia, and we'll make it fun. So I hope
Nostalgia.
you NES and yes,
Nostalgia.
That would be
If you
good.
say Ness, you're a psychopath.
That'll
or
be a
Super
good
NES
name
or
for the
SNES.
episode. Nostalgia.
And until that time, Sean, now you can take us out.
Thank you for playing.